Good evening, everyone. I am Mike Asherbrander, the proud and humble leader of the Hounds of Business community, and you are tuning in to the Hounds of Business Happy Hour. So glad you can attend, and I just usually ramble for the first, 30 seconds because nobody sees the first minute. So hopefully everybody's had a good time. And wow, can you believe it's November? Dadgummit, I cannot believe it. Thanksgiving is just around the corner. Holy cow. So this year I'm going to enjoy it though. So anybody coming in to the audience, say hi, put a chat comment in there so I say something makes sense. You don't know how y'all been here before. But I just wanted to give a big shout out. Thank you for everyone to make the hounds this year. And I know the year's not up, but I start 2025 early, dadgummit. But, really appreciate it. If not for you all believing in the same thing, having the same values, and really wanna create a community that's really full, of heart-centered folks who look out for each other and practice reciprocity, then I'm just some weird dude in a camo hat taking a walk by himself. I'm not leading anything, all right? So thank you so much for all you've done, and Matt T, good to see you, big dog. Glad you're here, and I know Royce Blake will be here. He's always here, and if he doesn't, he's gonna go on a milk carton. Like, really, like, where is Royce? He missed one show, and somebody called the police. And LinkedIn user, that's either Sarah or who else does it? Well, let me know who you are so I can say hi to you. All right. So I tell you what, while we're letting folks filter in, this show is going to be amazing. And I wanted to make sure because the hounds do things. It's unbelievable what you guys do. So April Wyatt, all right, Hounds ambassador. Oh my goodness, Kelly's here. Look at me. You see that smile? It's genuine. Look, even backstage, they solid. Kelly, oh my goodness, she does so many things for the folks and veterans and disabled. It's absolutely inspiring. So thank you for being here. Oh wow, who is it? I knew it, Sarah Puccio. Oh my goodness, I got it right. Even a blind squirrel catch a nut every now and then. See, I got it right. All right. So let me show you. April Wyatt has been MIA. It's been quiet. We miss her, and I told her it kind of stinks without you being here. It really stinks without her being here. But she's got things to do. So she is taking her Bali retreat. And she's got several women that is out there practicing mindfulness and reconnecting and having a great time. So I want to share this video. Thank you so much, April Wyatt, for sharing this. She's only 14 hours ahead, so I think it's 5 a.m. her time right now. Well, let's check this out. And I want to make sure, folks, if you didn't get to make this retreat, there's one coming up in California. I want to make sure you guys see it.
Just coming on here to share with you the beautiful Gaia Oasis Resort here in Bali. This is where I'm holding a reset and restore your mind and body retreat. It's a beautiful location where people come together to relax and just reconnect to the deeper parts of ourselves. So that way we build resiliency to stress, intentions. Keep living with intention and check out my website for future retreats.
Yeah, I think I'm to blame for that little ventriloquist act at the I don't know what happened with the editing, but thank you, April, for that. I know it's just I can hear it in her voice when I talk to her. It's just a great time. So she'll come back and keep us up to date on that. But if you had missed it, all right, don't worry. All right, you get to go to the next one. So let me bring up her QR code again. You feel free to scan this and check out her website, but also make sure that you go to the California retreat. All right, this is going to be a great time because I mean, a lot of people face an overwhelm, especially with the holidays coming up, right? And need some clarity, right? Need some clarity and really try to bring yourself back to figure out what to do next. It seems like everybody's just in an upheaval. And so reconnect, she does a lot of stuff. She's got audio rooms, she has podcasts. People love them. I absolutely love them. I invite guests to them all the time. So just go to April Wyatt, Wyett. All right, find her on LinkedIn. She also has a great YouTube channel. Fantastic individual and a Hounds ambassador. So happy to have her and share what she's doing. And real quick before we run the intro and get this party started with these superstars, now we got to go find out where's Kevin Smith. Remember, where in the world is Carmen San Diego? Man, that's what we're playing. Like, where's Waldo? Where's Kevin Smith with Kindness Worldwide? This is Kindness Week, y'all. All right, so if we ever needed a Kindness Week, this is a good week. Right? Everybody's getting ready for the holidays. We just got past the election. Man, I need some kindness too. So let's check this out. It's only a 30-second video, but it says a lot.
The story of kindness worldwide is so cool.
It's proof that no act of kindness is too small to make a difference.
Anyone can make a lasting impact through kind actions.
Why not me?
Me.
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 Why not you? What kind are you? kindnessworldwide.org.
So if you haven't seen this story and heard Kevin Smith tell his story, you got to go to our YouTube channel, Hounds of Business, and you can check that out, or you can go to kindnessworldwide.org. This is an amazing story. This guy's he's modest. I can say it though. He's built a giant, successful financial services company, and then he loses his wallet, and then his whole life changed. Now he's running around making proclamations. There's police worldwide sending out kindness citations. Man, it's unbelievable what's happening to this, and it's sweeping the world. And I'm glad. So, where in the world is Kevin Smith? Well, I'm glad you asked. He is in York, Pennsylvania, right? And he had met with the mayor, and now it really the proclamation. He made a post about this. So go to Kevin Smith on LinkedIn and read the post he made a few days ago. All right. The proclamation and symbolic engagement of what he's doing. All right. He's met with governors, UN. This thing is taking off like wildfire. It's an amazing story, and it is really inspiring folks to look for little acts of kindness, right? It's an intention. And so I know I can use it. And thank you, Dr. New. She is a kindness worldwide ambassador, as well as a hounds ambassador and our dub kindness queen. So you see what happens here. Look, shameless plug for the hounds. Don't do this stuff alone. If you put people first, you're trying to grow a business and you love to build relationships, dadgummit, no more strays. All right. Plug into these superstars that we have all around the place in different walks of life and stop doing it by yourself. You have an impact to make in this world. And most people do nowadays, but you know what? The sad part is they won't. You know why? Because they don't have the support and resources to get it going and keep it going. That's where we step in, guys. We can do way more together and have a whole lot more fun. I'm proof positive. So without further ado, I tell you what, we're going to roll the intro and bring up these rock stars. I cannot wait to get started. Thank you all for showing up as you always do. Man, y'all mean I can't express my gratitude. I'm just going to stutter around until I get the words out. So let's roll the intro and have a good time.
Are you looking to grow your network and your net worth with other high-level, heart-centered professionals? Then grab a seat and your favorite beverage and join Mike Asherbranner, the Redneck Connector. It's time for the Hounds of Business Community Happy Hour.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. There's David Medansky, the health guy, and his health cat, I'm supposed. All right. How are you today, buddy?
I'm doing great, Mike. Thanks for having me as a guest today. Yeah, my cat decided to join us, and I got my Shih Tzu dog sitting on my lap.
Oh, well, we like dogs. I mean, we're the hounds. I mean, that'd be kind of weird if we didn't, right? And we're also okay with cats. I've got them. They beat my dogs up, though. I don't like that. So, hey, we met through the one and only great Tanya Eberhardt. Is that right? Brand face?
Correct.
He introduced. Yeah, and so you went to one of her, group calls, right? And then she said, "Hey, you need to meet that guy in a camo hat." And thank goodness, right? That's what I mean. If I went around chasing, David and DMing him and pitch slapping and doing silly stuff, yeah, he'd pepper spray me over Zoom. However, here he is. So, you and I here's the backdrop. Uh, David and I, when you build a business, when you're a high level professional, things can go to the wayside, including health. And you all know I've been harping on this. Okay. It is so when you're trying to pay the electric bill and get things moving forward, it is really tough. And so I've been an amateur most of my life, right? What's that mean? That means I try to figure stuff out and do it myself. I'm not preaching. I'm just saying, hey, take cautionary tale here. Amateurs do things alone, and that's why I didn't have the results I was capable of until I realized, hey, all top level professionals, athletes, business folks, people who are just happy in life in general have high level coaches, right? They keep graduating, right? Like Olympic champions. And that's what David has been to me. I've had many folks in my life. I've had Dr. New with mindfulness, April Wyatt. I've had Michelina DeCibio still in the corner helping me with that. And now I've got David Medansky, and he has been really instrumental. And we're going to get into it. He's wrote a book, he's got TV shows galore. But more importantly, the guy loves to help people. He puts people's best interests first, and that's what we're all about. So thank you for coming. And I also want to introduce us another guest. And she's only been a hound for 2 weeks, guys. 2 weeks. It couldn't be more than 2 weeks. So Michelle Ward, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me here. Excited to be here.
No, you're welcome. You dress fancy. You knew you was coming to my show, right?
That's right. Well, you're in my closet too, so you get to see everything. So
there you go. I did that too. I had a little bitty tiny closet and I stuck all my stuff in there just to hide, and it didn't work. If the kids find me anywhere, I can go to Texas, they'll pop out of the dryer vent. So let me give a shout out. Look at these folks. I can't pronounce the name, but hey, thank you for joining. Good morning to you. It's evening over here. I love being international. Sharon, oh my goodness, thank you for showing up. Atlanta, I love Atlanta. I go twice a year or once every 2 years. I go down there to the convention with investments. Atlanta, yeah, it's a wild place for a guy like me. It's like watching Crocodile Dundee. And then we've got Bangladesh, cool. Hey, Christine Bell, she was on the Mike King show, radio show yesterday, ESPN with RVA. Thank you so much. She has a community, is unbelievable, teaching strategy to people who otherwise can't afford it. Like, could you imagine having the same lessons and coach that companies like Yum Corp can have? Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's a game changer. All right. And then I think we've got Sarah. Yep, Sarah can't. I got to help Sarah unlock this. All right.
Yeah, don't forget Tommy in Laos.
Yeah, there's Tommy. Tommy is in Laos. He's a good dude. Tommy always shows up and just a great guy. And he's really disciplined. He helps me stay disciplined as well. All right. So, David, do us a favor. I want to start with you, my friend. And I think Alicia might be able to join us, and we'll let her in if she can. I know things happen in life. But David, start by sharing your story, your personal story. You went from high risk of a heart attack to conquering Mount Kilimanjaro in not that long of a time. All right. So tell us a little background of this, please.
Well, let me start at first. When I was in my 20s and 30s, I was very fit and trim. However, like most people, life gets in the way with family obligations and work responsibilities. And before I knew it, I stopped exercising, started eating fast foods and convenience foods. And my background is being a divorce lawyer, so a lot of stress. And I got my wake-up call in July of 2016 at age 61 when my doctor told me, based on my lab results and that I was fat, I had a 95% chance for a fatal heart attack. So he gave me two options: lose weight or find a new doctor. And he strongly encouraged me to find a new doctor because he had been after me for 8 years to lose the weight. If I did lose weight on a diet, I gained it all back, sometimes even more. I was embarrassed. I was frustrated. This time was different. And during the next 4 months, I shed 50 pounds, which was 25% of my total body weight. More importantly, I've kept it off. And then 2 years ago, in June of 2022, at age 67, I hiked up Mount Kilimanjaro. So age should not be an excuse for you not to become healthy.
Yeah, I must say it cut out a little bit. Did you tell us how old you were? Or am I not supposed to ask that on live?
Oh, no, I was 67 when I hiked up Kilimanjaro, and I'm approaching 70 now.
Yeah, you should put that on a t-shirt. Be proud of that. But I told y'all many times before, my family sends to age like milk, not fine wine, right? So I've been blessed with good genes, but now that I'm 43, man, I'm starting to think about it. I need to count my cholesterol and take, I need to be more proactive because it's not going to last forever. I got to take care of it. So, and let's go. I'm going to scoot over here to Michelle. Michelle, and check this out, y'all. Y'all want to laugh at me? Go ahead. Check this out. How do you say the name of your company? Like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to get the words out of my mouth. How do you say that?
Elan Vital. So it's two French.
Yeah,
it's a French word. Two French words I put together. It means vital force.
There you go. And what do you do? So you're a self-sabotage coach, but this is why I like you. You're not a 17-year-old life coach, right? Like, you've been on the journey. So do me a favor. Explain to folks, what you do and why you do it.
Okay. Well, I started off 25 years ago in the health space, whenever I was having my own issues that allopathic medicine couldn't help me with, and somehow I ended up in the holistic health world. And I started coaching about 15 years ago, and I started off in nutrition and lifestyle, and realized that people were kind of coming back after about a year and a half. And I was like, well, I didn't want to create repeat business. And so I learned about the role of mindset, how that plays a role in your health. But then, it was helpful, but it goes a little bit deeper than that. And I actually learned through my own journey that there are subconscious beliefs or limiting beliefs that drive behaviors that lead to self-sabotaging, your goals. And so I went deep on that, and I transformed my life in so many ways. And that's how I ended up here. So I still teach, the nutrition part, but there's also, you got to figure out what's driving behavior. So
Yeah, and that's why I thought this would be a great fit, because David knows the playbook, and he also understands, the mind. Like, if we resist it, if it's too much, if we hate it every second, we're probably not going to do it, right? We're not going to even try. But sometimes we have deep-seated things that keep us down. Like, I've discovered that most people have a lot of stuff, right? But other people are better hiding it. So I decided to dive through it, because, and we'll get into this, but reading a book and doing the surface level stuff is far different than going deep inside of the stuff that causes the maladaptive behaviors, right? And a lot of the hounds understand this. So I wanted to have your perspective on what David does, because he helps people individually in wellness and eat better and be healthier, but also he does corporate wellness workshops. So
Mhm.
he's doing that on a scale. So you guys kind of complement each other. Like, he sells cookies, you sell milk. That's why you're here today, because a lot of folks might not get to that point. They just won't do anything, and then they could need your help, right? To really address the deep-seated rooted issues that cause them to do stuff they don't want to do. All right. So this is going to be a great combo. And again, folks, thank you for tuning in. And listen, if you're a hound, tell them you're a hound in the comments. Right. They expect me to say the hounds are great. So let's go see what other people have to say. Okay. And also, network. Don't pitch slap with a P. Don't pitch slap and spam people. But hey, follow each other. Let them know you're open to connect. You'll never know who you're going to meet. I'm telling you, all of these folks here were referrals. I did not go in there and bother them, or like I said, they would have pepper sprayed me over Zoom. However, they saw other people say, "Hey, you got to check this guy out." They're like, "Hey, what do I got to lose?" Right? And so keep that open. All right. So David, back to you, buddy. If, what are some of the key mindset shifts that allowed you to really achieve this kind of really incredible transformation? Was it fear? Was it, the vision of the future, a mix of both? What was it that really changed in your brain?
Oh, it was fear. I didn't want to die. It was real simple. I wasn't, it was, right in my face. I enjoy my life. I have a great life, and I want to keep living it and doing more. So I want to help other people enjoy life to the fullest. And what I found in doing research is that there's a lot of deceptive marketing out there by the food companies and by the pharmaceuticals. So a friend of mine, Mickey Gaffinstone, has a saying, and she says, the food companies will get you sick, big pharma will keep you sick, and the diet and weight loss industries are aiding and abetting both of them.
Hmm.
And that's the problem. I talk to clients and they think they're eating healthy until they read the ingredients instead of the front of the package and realize the stuff that's in there is toxic to their bodies. And people are like, how does this happen? How does Cheerios get to promote heart healthy on the front of their package when it does not reduce cholesterol and it's not heart healthy? Well, they pay a lot of money as a lobbyist to the federal government and the American Heart Association and the American Diabetic Association. So you got to see where the funding comes from and where the sources are. And just because the American Heart Association or American Diabetic Association approves it does not mean it's good for you or healthy for you. So be careful. There are a lot of studies out there. People will say, hey, my research shows that this or that is good. Well, who paid for that study?
Exactly.
And when you look behind it, you'll find out it was the company who wanted the results that they showed.
Well,
Yeah.
and To
Go
that
ahead.
point, I'm sorry, Mike. To
No,
that
go ahead.
point, you gotta do your own research, but you gotta start thinking for yourself. I mean, I think we just we live in this world where we're told how to think, what to think, who we are, who to be, and we got to take back our power, and that's really what I help my clients to do is like you make the choices. You got to, and you also have to change your concept of who you are before anything else changes in your life. And so I think that's super important to know or to remember. And I also tell my clients, because I think I don't want to be deprived of these wonderful foods that I'm eating, which are not foods, as we know. They're food-like substances that are created in a lab. A lot of them are. But are you depriving yourself? Or are you freeing yourself? And David, you freed yourself from, a heart attack just waiting to happen.
Yeah, I was fortunate, Michelle. I avoided the heart attack. I went to my high school 50th class reunion last year in September, and my classmates were talking about their heart attacks, their strokes, their open heart surgeries, their cancers, their hip replacement, their knee replacements, and they were wearing it as a badge of honor.
Yeah.
And then I come bebopping in, and they're like, "What have you been up to?" And I said, "Oh, hiking Kilimanjaro, doing this, doing that." And they're like, "How are you doing this?" Well, I changed my eating habits and my lifestyle. And so that's the difference.
Well, I love your approach too, is it's simple and profound at the same time. They're not hard things to do. Now, maybe, it may be difficult to change the mindset to get it, but they're simple things that you can employ on a daily basis that aren't going to completely wreck your life.
Yeah. And I teach what I call the 9 simple golden rules for living a healthy lifestyle. And when people hear the 9 simple golden rules, there they are. They say, "I know that. I understand you know it. Are you doing it?" And 95% of people say no. And then the question is, well, why aren't you doing what you know what to do to be healthy? And that's where we get to the underlying issues. And it's not so much also what we can do, it's what we will do. And that's where the difference is. A lot of us can do a lot of things. The question is, will we do it? And then it reminds me of a quote where it says, everybody wants to be healthy and fit until they learn what they need to do or have to do, and then they don't want to do it.
Exactly.
Yep. Well, since you brought this, and here I was thinking that I was going to have trouble with you two talking. See, I love being wrong. I love this. So no, this is good stuff. They ain't come here to see me. They came here to hear about you guys because we face this at some point in our life, or we just keep putting it off. Right? I've got this deadline to make. I've got this thing to do. Blah blah blah. I got a family. I got kids. Hey, fill up the chat with your excuses. I mean, seriously, because get it out there. Because hey, this guy's giving coaching for free. I mean, don't be silly. Right? So we have these things that go off. And even though we know to do it, we don't do it. And this is why I like working with David because he's been doing this once a week with me, holding accountability meetings. Because you all know me, I don't promote anything I don't believe in 1000%. That's kind of the hound's way. So I've been getting benefit from it. It's been really good accountability. We talk openly and we talk about the challenges. And real quick before we get into the 9, here's what I like about it. Michelle said, do your own research, right? And you're an attorney, right? You're not a health dude. You didn't, you're just some attorney guy who was scared. So, what was it that is that the first step you took when your mindset shifted and you said, "Look, I don't want to die and be miserable." Like, so what did you do? Just start researching everything? Is that it?
Actually, I went back and started reading my books from the 1970s by Paul and Patricia Bragg, Jack LaLanne, Richard Simmons, William Duffy's Sugar Blues. Still one of the best books ever written was William Duffy's Sugar Blues. And I realized they were talking about basic concepts. Then I started reading a lot of books by current authors, and they were talking about their products, their programs, their services, and it made it sound like if you didn't invest in them, you'd fail. I thought, there's something wrong. So one of the things I learned in my research is the average person will attempt 4 to 5 new diets each year, and over a lifetime, 126 different diets. Well, what does that tell you? It tells you diets don't work. Diets are temporary, extreme, hard to stick with, and a lot of them are potentially dangerous. So the best thing is to change your lifestyle. And when you eat for your health, your weight will take care of itself. And that's what I found. So again, I like to keep things simple, things that are doable. If you don't like kale or you don't like broccoli or Brussels sprouts, don't eat it, because you won't make it a habit if you don't enjoy it. And so also in the book, Jaded Health, there's about 17 short stories and parables with life lessons. And I applied those life lessons to eating healthy and living a healthy lifestyle. They're short. They're only maybe 2 or 3 pages. So the book is designed so you can flip through it and not have to go from cover to cover. And there may be a story or two that will resonate with you, and some may not. At least something may trigger something in you to motivate you or inspire you to improve your lifestyle and eating habits.
From experience. That's what I'm saying. You all come from experience. You've been there, done that, learned how to get to that fork in the road, and took the path less traveled, right? And now you're reaching back to say, hey, if you're at this fork in the road, don't do it alone. And do it with somebody who not only been there, but learned how to do it themselves and now coaches other people to do it. That's the simplest method. And by the way, I got a book. I can't, man, my ADHD will not allow me to read straight through. So this was written for me. But look, I even got a little autograph, man. That's already worth money, guys. All right, so yeah, I love it because it's so basic. I thought I was gonna get some like amazing, like what was it? Kind of like the hidden message or some kind of secret. No, man, it was like drink water, do this, do that. I said, well, this stuff I know, but it's interesting. Why not doing it if it's so simple, right? And so,
Yeah,
Michelle, let me go back. Go ahead,
I was
David.
going to say, Michelle is right with the mindset and the attitude, because 80% of our thoughts are negative. So imagine if you changed it to 80% positive. And that's what, you and I talked about this morning, Mike, in our session. You made a comment. I said, why are you being negative? Change it this way to make it positive. So I was happy to call you out, and you were receptive to it and took it for the constructive criticism it was, and not that I was, judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for a nanosecond, I gave you a dirty look, but I mean, but hey, do I want to be right and have my ego, groomed, or do I want to get better, right? And I tell everybody, don't sugarcoat it. You know how people stammer around and go, "Well, Mike, can I give you?" Yes, don't sugarcoat it. Just put the shot in there and hit the button, like that, because I'm on this kick where I just want to get better, and I wasn't that way, right? And so, Michelle, not to put you on the spot, but this is your wheelhouse.
Put me on the
You
spot.
know, well, because of my own journey, right? Like, what is it that is it usually a crisis, or is it just being sick and tired of being sick and tired? What is it that typically will prompt somebody to say, you know what, I've been burying my head in the sand for decades, right? I'm just tired of it. And,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not just going to do surface level stuff. I'm going to go dive deep, right? What is usually things that trigger it? Is it a crisis in life, or is it just an awareness? I mean, what could they be? I know there's a lot, but
Yeah, I think that a lot of times there's a crisis, or I'm sick of doing the same thing over and over and getting the same result. What is that? The definition of insanity. And so, what I've also found is, if you're not ready to hear it, then it's not going to resonate with you. Like, no amount of rhetoric or data or science will change someone's mind. Only personal experience will. And so if you find yourself hitting a wall, which I did several times in my life, that led me down different paths that led me here, then I didn't want to feel that way. I didn't want to look that way. I didn't want to think that way. Then I was ready for the change, So it could be a personal experience. It could be a crisis. It could be actually seeing somebody else make massive changes, like David, in their life, and be like, oh, well, if he can do it, I can do it too, So
yeah. So do you find that that's a key that people can relate to you? Because I mean, there's all kind of options out there, right? And this is what I like about David. He's not the only person in the world that could help with this stuff, but he's the only person I want to work with at the moment, right? So do you notice that when you tell your story and people hear about what you went through and how you overcome, that it accelerates that, and people are more open to say, "Hey, I don't like to talk about this, but I'll talk about it to you."
yes, because I actually was in a place where I didn't want to talk about what I went through, but I thought, there's a reason for it. And so the transparency, the vulnerability, to share your story, and for people, and for me to share my story and somebody go like, I resonate with that. And, you know, it's a safe space because I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Yeah, just being relatable, I think is, you know, a huge part of it. My husband used to tell me when I first started my coaching business 15 years ago, he said, you don't have, like, why do you try to put up this, you know, perfect facade? Like, you're like, no one wants somebody perfect. Like, and I didn't believe that for so long. And now I realize, like, I can't relate to perfection because, you know, it makes you feel bad about yourself, you know? So.
Right. And I never met any perfect people, not personally. And I think that's a key. There's a big topic that we've been talking about. We talked about on Russ's show. I'm writing in CJ, Dr. Constance Leland, and Susanna Dawn's anthology about this, where, you know, what's with perfection, right? What's a vulnerability? I'm not saying tell everybody your deepest, darkest secrets on a live stream, but what I'm saying is stop trying to pretend like you're perfect because we ain't believing it. We know we're not perfect, right? And the relatability. This is what I like about you guys being open and sharing your stories. Um, you're not looking for attention. You're looking to relate to other people, right? You know their suffering and how they struggle, and you want to reach back and be open to them and help them along when they're ready, right? So
Right.
let's go to this. All right, David, this is the most fun you have. All right. Talk about the 9 golden rules. Last time you did this, the crowd went wild, man. I hear them screaming like it's, you know, like Carnegie Hall, man. So go ahead and walk us through the 9 simple, and they are simple. All right. And I'm still not doing them all, but I'm getting better. Go ahead.
All right. 9 simple golden rules. First one, drink an adequate amount of water, usually 1/2 of your total body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you should drink a minimum of 100 ounces of water. When I talk about water, I'm talking about pure water, not the flavored, adulterated water. And the reason that is
Hose water.
Hose water is fine.
Okay.
There's always
I'm
an
not
exception
joking.
for you, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. It's real. Yeah, go ahead.
The reason I say drink a lot of water is number one is because our bodies are 60 to 70% water. It's not soda, diet soda, fruit juices, or fruit flavored beverages or milk. So drink water. Golden rule number 2, avoid highly processed and manufactured ultra processed foods. Golden rule number 3, eat real holistic whole foods. Instead of drinking a glass of orange juice, eat the orange. And the reason I say that, it takes 4 to 8 medium oranges to make 1 glass of orange juice, which is then pure sugar. And they also add chemicals to it to restore the shelf life and make it taste better. So would you eat 4 to 8 oranges at one sitting? Most people would say no. So just eat the whole orange. You get the fiber and all the nutrients in there. Golden rule number 4 is to eat slowly. We tend to eat fast. We're at our desk. We look down, the sandwich is gone. We're driving through the fast food. We're driving, eating our meals. It's gone. You're watching TV. The bag of chips or pretzels or cookies is gone. Where did it go? Well, you ate it. And that's what I call mindless eating. Golden rule number 5, eat small portions. Our food portions have been supersized without people realizing it. In the 1900s, the average size dinner plate was 9 inches in diameter. Today, it's over 12 inches. In restaurants, it's 13 to 15 inches. Yet in Europe, except for the UK, a dinner plate is still 9 inches in diameter. So one tip is to use a salad plate instead of a dinner-sized plate, and preferably use a blue plate. The color blue is a natural appetite suppressant. Red and yellow are appetite stimulants. That's why McDonald's, Burger King, Carl's Jr., Wendy's, Denny's all use red and yellow in their marketing to increase your appetite. Golden rule number 6 is get adequate sleep, at least 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep. And then golden rule number 7, I call it rest to digest. It's an intermittent fast. And when I say that, people roll their eyes and look at me and think starvation. No, you're probably doing it without realizing it. If you stop eating 3 hours before you go to bed and you get 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep, and upon waking up, you drink 8 to 20 ounces of water to rehydrate. Water acts as an appetite suppressant, so you're not hungry. And your first meal to break the fast, not breakfast, but to break the fast, is 2 hours later. That's 12 to 13 hours. That's an intermittent fast. Golden rule number 8, think positive. As I mentioned, 80% of our thoughts are negative. And golden rule number 9 is to walk each day or do some type of physical activity. Rebel Wilson lost 77 pounds in a year simply walking an hour each day. Now, I realize not everybody has an hour each day to walk. Mindy Kaling, what she would do is when she had a 10 or 15-minute break, she would go for a 10 or 15-minute walk instead of doing social media or texting friends. So the point is, you don't have to do an hour at one time. You can break it up in 10 or 15-minute segments throughout the day, which is probably the best way to do it. And then there's some questions out there. People were saying about where can you get the book? It's available on Amazon for Jaded Health. Also, if you want a copy of the 9 Simple Golden Rules, send me a message and I'll send you the PDF of it as a gift. And then also, Dr. Constance Leyland was asking about instant gratification, or talking about instant gratification. What I usually ask clients is, would you like to weigh 24 to 48 pounds lighter by this time next year? Most people who want to reduce weight will say yes. The problem today is the national brands promise to lose 10, 15, 20, 30 pounds your first month guaranteed. It's possible. The thing is, it's not sustainable, nor is it healthy. So you want to do it gradually. You want to create habits and a lifestyle. And someone put up there that Jim Rohn said 21 days to create a habit. Actually, research in the UK shows it's 66 days on average. So it could be more, it could be less. The thing is, it's better to be consistently good than occasionally perfect, which is a diet.
I stole that from you, by the way, and I do give you credit at the end, And by the way, if y'all notice, I feel like Dr. Evil from Austin Powers. If y'all notice, my chair keeps sinking down. There we go. This is happy hour. Don't worry about it. All right. So let me ask you a question. So Michelle, if you don't chime in, if you don't mind, you have a story, right? So you lived through your own, aha moments and working on the inner stuff and really overcoming a lot of obstacles that we as people try to hide. So if you want to share whatever you're comfortable with, but then you have a triumph moment, so you can relate to the discipline and the mindset shift of going from somebody who's just going whatever, I'll eat whatever, to doing what you did. So share the story freely.
Well, I've always been kind of an outlier, and so I was doing all this stuff that David is talking about 25 years ago, and it was weird back then. And but I have always been disciplined, and I was very disciplined and drinking a lot of wine for 10 years, which made me gain a bunch of weight because I was eating healthy and I was doing all the things I was coaching my clients on, but secretly I was drinking a lot of alcohol, which was leading to other issues that I was slapped in the face with. So there came a point in my life, it's probably about 5 years ago, that I realized, something had to change and I had to start there. And so I switched. I actually was talking to somebody today. I switched that alcohol addiction for a working out addiction, and started working out and hired a personal trainer, started building some muscle, and started losing a good amount of body fat, and really liked what I saw. But I really felt like I needed another push for myself. Like I really wanted to, kind of drive up the stakes a little bit. So I decided to enter myself into a bikini competition where I was going to have to wear next to nothing on a stage in front of hundreds and hundreds of people with 6-inch acrylic heels, do this, performance and, my muscles and all that stuff. And I was so excited about it. And no one understood why I was doing it. But at that point, I didn't really, I was like, I don't care what people think. I'm doing this for me. And it forced me, to really kind of dig deep. And really the journey of all that was the prize. And I did want to win a prize, but the journey and getting up on stage and having my friends and family there to support me, was great. But I ended up winning, or placing third place, and I was 52 when I did this. So this was just a couple of years ago.
Wow.
But I lost 30 pounds of body fat. I went from 30% body fat down to 12%, but then, kind of leveled it out. So it's like normal now, but, and also gained probably about 20 pounds of muscle in the process. And, it's never I was never terribly overweight, but I was just over fat. And I didn't like that. And also I felt like it was really incongruent with what I was teaching other people, or coaching other people on. So, if you think that you can't do something, then you're right. Henry Ford said it, but when you think you can and you focus on that, it's like the temporary states that you're in right now, with consistency and repetition turn into a permanent state. So just what David was saying,
So I want to get into this. I call it the moment of suspension. All right, and I'll get into that. But before, I want to say hi to Dale Stevens, Wayne Richardson. Thank you for showing up. Appreciate you. And also, Sharon said, if it don't rot, it ain't food. I need to put that on a T-shirt. That's my first merch. I think we ought to put that on camo hats to see
I
how
love
many,
it.
2 or 3. Yeah, if it don't rot, it ain't food. That gum straight. But you don't care what people think like that. We'll get into this in a second. It's the moment of suspension, right? I think of a monkey swinging on a vine, and they're about to grab another vine, but when they let go of one, right before they grab hold of another, right? There's a moment where you feel like you can fall. So this fork in the road, it sounds great. We're talking about it in hindsight, right? But go back to that moment where it was real, where your mind was like, no, hell no, we ain't doing this. This sucks. We're not going to stay on it. It could be day one, could be day 5. What was it, in the best way you can articulate it, what was it that kept you going when everything in you said, no, do like you've done the last 4 or 5 decades?
Well, I have a family member who is an alcoholic that I'm very close to. And I saw the path that she was going down. So that was, very eye-opening and very upsetting. And I knew her thought processes because I could see it because I thought the same way. So that was one of the big things. My marriage was falling apart, and my husband, told me on more than one occasion that it was completely, unattractive, the drinking and all that. So that was a huge thing. What I was modeling for my children, I have 2 daughters. That was another thing that was driving me. And and it seemed like everything in my life was kind of just crumbling around me. It was just the craziest thing. And I'm actually very grateful for that. And I knew I had the control, and I was giving my control out to other people. I wasn't taking control myself of my life. And I thought, it's up to me to make these changes. So that's what drove me. That's what drove me to the gym. And also knew I had a rule, when I was weaning off the alcohol, is that if I'm working out the next day, I'm not going to have a drink the night before. Well, I was working out 7 days a week. So that was my rule, and I stuck to my own rule.
Smart.
So,
Yeah, no, I know David wants to chime in because he's all about the mindset too, right? It's like arguing with Yoda over here, guys. Let me tell you, it don't I do it just because I need to hear it, but I don't do it like I'm actually going to win I don't want to win the argument. That means I'll be unhealthy. But David, what for you and your clients? And thank you for sharing that, Michelle. That for you to be so open about this means you care about people. You're not doing this for attention. It's not easy to talk about. I'm sure, at least it would
no.
be for me. But your hope is, and this is why we do these kind of shows, right? Because you guys will help corporations, you help small business, but professionals, people who are struggling silently, right? And this is what it's about. Don't feel like you're bad. I went through it too. I heard fear, I heard loss, generational baggage, and personal responsibility.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've experienced that myself, right? And that's what I mean. The things that are making you feel horrible about yourself out there, if you're listening to this recording or if you're on the live, those are things that you can turn to triumph, right? Like it's such a remarkable thing for you to go from that lifestyle, that mindset, and make yourself do it and then fail and do it anyway and keep doing it until you get there. So David, what are your personal experience? Was it hard? Was it easy? Did you fail a bunch? Like what can people expect from you, from your own experience and clients?
It was difficult. If anybody tells you it's easy, they're lying, because it's a
Okay.
mental challenge every day. So there's certain foods I do not touch. I don't touch M&Ms. I haven't had a soda since July of 2016. I don't drink or have M&Ms or Hershey bars or Snicker bars or Pringles potato chips were my downfall. I just don't start because I treat it as an alcoholic would, that if I start, I won't stop. And for me, it was the office manager at my doctor's office making fun of me, saying that she didn't think I was going to do it and didn't believe I could do it. And I became their poster child for achieving the weight loss because I wanted to prove her wrong. And in doing so, it changed my whole attitude. And the other thing, I told my wife I had to come full circle to be able to help other people, because when I was in my 20s and 30s, as I said, I wasn't eating any red meat or refined sugars. And I was very judgmental and didn't understand why people would be eating the free donuts or partaking at holidays and overeating. And I had to learn that, go through being fat myself and the embarrassment and the frustration and the challenges, to be more sympathetic and empathetic, and I can relate. So when I tell someone, I understand what you're going through, it's true, as opposed to a 20 or 30-year-old telling them, who's fit and trim, hey, I understand. No, they don't understand because they haven't experienced what it feels like to be embarrassed and frustrated.
That is so
Yes.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing, David, I don't know if you experienced this because you were basically slapped in the face by your doctor, but when and so in those kind of situations, you have to make the choice, like my health or otherwise the other alternative. But when you're letting go of something, your mind really can only focus on what you're going to lose at the moment, instead of what you will gain. But that's part of the letting go process, is just, you don't know what's on the other side of that health change or that mindset change. And it is scary to think about. And so it takes courage. Somebody had written in here that, simple doesn't equate to easy. And I absolutely agree with that. So, but if you can get out of your own way and stop thinking about the things you're going to miss out on by, not eating the cake or not eating the M&Ms or drinking the soda or drinking the alcohol, then you'll see a world open up on the other side of that you never even knew existed.
Exactly. One trick I want to share with the audience at holiday parties, because holidays are coming up soon. If I'm invited, I'll go, and what I'll do is I'll get a glass of wine and I'll carry it around with me all night, so it looks like I'm drinking. And at the end of the night, I put it down when I'm really not. And
when you act like me, people think you are drinking, so it's okay.
Yeah. So there's little things. And then also, if a host goes out of their way to incur the expense and take the effort and time to prepare something, and you shouldn't be indulging, you just tell them, look, I'm on a restricted diet. I appreciate the time and effort you went through. However, I have to pass it this time. And some of the lines I'll use is, it'll look better on you than me, or more for you or your guest, or better in the trash than on my ass. So, again, you have to stand up for what you want. You don't have to be obnoxious. You don't have to be rude. Just be courteous, and understand too that they went through the trouble and expense to prepare the meal or the treat for you. So I'm not perfect. I'm not saying you have to be a food purist. If somebody has a piece of pie, I'll have a sliver. And a sliver to me is 2 fingers as opposed to 4. And that's how I measure a sliver. And that way you get to enjoy, you won't insult anybody, and don't feel guilty about it. Think of yourself as an airplane. If you go from Los Angeles to New York and you're off 1 degree, you'll be off 266 miles. However, most planes are on autopilot and they're course correcting 90 to 95% of the time. So think of your health journey, that you're always course correcting until you get a little bit closer to being on the path that you need to be on. So again, it's thinking positive and not negative. As Michelle said, it's not that you're foregoing or giving up or sacrificing something. You're making a healthy choice, and focus on the things that you enjoyed that are healthy, because what you focus on expands. And when you focus on that stuff, you stop thinking about the other stuff, and then eventually you don't even care about it.
It's so true. It's so true. I never had heard about the blue plate versus the red and yellow, but that totally makes sense. So thank you for that wisdom. Another trick for the holidays is before you go to a party or any kind of event that you're going to, or dinner or with friends, don't show up starving, because you will eat anything. You'll eat your arm. So, have a very good healthy snack. If you eat meat, have 6 ounces of chicken and maybe half an avocado before you go. And then you can maybe snack on something, just to, enjoy the food that whatever healthy food is there. I mean, but you won't feel like you have to gorge yourself. So
Don't go shopping on an empty stomach either. I'm a
yeah,
finance guy, so
well, don't go
holy
to Costco
cow.
on an empty
Yeah, if
stomach.
you want to
That's for
go for,
sure.
oh my goodness gracious, seriously, leave. I got 3 shopping carts pulling them all by myself. It's bad. Don't do it. So you said something that I want to touch on. Stop looking at it as loss, right? Because all too often, it's like David said, I don't eat candy. I don't do this. They're like, oh, he don't have no fun. No, he's a very fun guy, right? So stop looking at it as loss. What is your all's perspective? Well, I'm going to lose this and lose that. And, I'm going to be uncomfortable and miserable forever and ever and ever, right? These things that go off. So let me start with Michelle. What are some of the negative tapes that roll around in your client's head and from your own experience? And how did you determine they were false? It's
Yeah,
not the case.
that's a great question. The thing for me is that, all of our friends that we hang out with, we go out to dinner and have, wine. And of course, they'll have 1 glass to my 3, or it used to be that way. And so, there's that social aspect. I'm like, well, I can't just go to dinner and drink water. But once you do it and once you start feeling better and all that, you don't want it anymore. It comes the point that you don't want it. I did a 2-year sugar fast years ago, and then whenever I stopped fasting from sugar, it just was disgusting. Like, it didn't taste good to me, kind of thing. So there is like a light at the end of the tunnel. But I've had a lot of clients say, well, like, what about going out to eat, or what about the birthday party, or what about whenever my birthday comes around, or, what about the pecan pie for Thanksgiving? And like David said, you can have a sliver of it. It's not what you do 10% of the time. It's what you do the other 90% of the time that really matters. And why is that so important to you? Like, what is it? What are we going to tie that back to? And a lot of that, that need for certain foods, or, self-gratification, because they're celebrating something, or they're sad, or something like that. That is actually linked back to childhood experiences, where maybe mom, you had a bad day at school, so let's go get some ice cream. I actually had one client tell me that her son said, I know the reason why I'm so addicted to M&Ms is because when you were potty training me, you'd give me an M&M every time I went, like, did the right thing. I'm like, gosh, he remembers that from being 2 years old, but it does, it matters. So
That's how I train the dogs too. Yeah. That's how I train my kids. It
yeah,
works. Hey, you get a treat. Ring the bell. Sharon Rose Winfield, how are you not in the hounds? All right, so I got a shameless plug. Click on the QR code. Go click on the QR code and join a educational as well as entertaining hounds group call. People are getting guests that I don't know are showing up to our group calls, and they're getting on each other's shows. All right, this is insane. All right, we have built an amazing ecosystem. Uh, Plug into these folks. Look at the comments. Look at the panelists. Don't build a business by yourself. All right, come out here, be inspired, work with these folks. And Lunch Butt, yeah, and she said Homer Simpson. That's why I'm laughing at the worst time. I'm like, why is he laughing at this serious story? Because I see all this stuff in the background. So, thank you, Sharon. And my gosh, I just lost my train of thought, man. It's not a far, it happens a lot. But let me ask you this. So, what is it that I don't know what? Let's go here because we only got a few minutes. What little baby step? First of all, I just saw a comment that I missed earlier. folks want to know where to buy your book. I put the QR code up there. And so scan that QR code, folks. Make sure that you get a copy of this book. I am reading it. I hate to read. I love to learn. Hate to read. Um, I'm gonna hire somebody to read for me or give me clip notes. But this book is good. I go to it. It really helps me stay on track. It's written. It's like your uncle just wrote it for you. You know, it's not like preaching at you. It's just like, hey, Uncle David here is just telling you, hey, do this, do that. You know, be
Actually, it's
happy,
not even
right?
telling them to do
So
this or do that. It's just, here's a suggestion that you could do if you wanted to.
yeah, there you go. That's the proper way to say it. To me, though, I'm coachable. It's a, hey, how do I do this? What's a fake? Avoid fake foods, right? Golden rule number 2, and you give details on that, right? Evidence, and it's just a real easy read. So, what prompted you to write this book? Because you don't write books just to write books. You want to write books for what?
Well, I want to write books so I can educate and inform people and provide the knowledge and share the wisdom that I've acquired. So this is my 5th book, and I always attempt to improve how I can communicate the message to make it as simple and as easy for the reader to comprehend and understand, and also to implement. So as you said, Mike, it's not a book of here's what to do. It's also how to do it. So it gives you all the information you need to be successful yourself. In fact, I was talking to a person I met at a networking event, and I gave him the 9 simple golden rules in a PDF. He printed it off, hung it up on his refrigerator, and he told me he's down 20 pounds in the last 2 months just looking at those 9 simple golden rules to remind him of what he should be doing. So it's as simple as that.
You have a PDF, right? You have a PDF that you
Yeah,
usually share with
anybody that
folks for that.
DMs
I
me,
have
I'll
it hanging
share
up.
it. I'll send it to them. Just provide me an email to send it to, or a direct message to respond back on LinkedIn, Facebook, and I send it. It's color, and you can download it, print it, and it's yours to keep.
Well, so one of the things that David is encouraging is basically crowding out the bad stuff. You're, adding in better habits, which crowds out the bad habits, And so doing that, strategically and, at your own pace, it does make a difference regardless of how, it just really kind of depends on how fast you want to lose and how safely you want to lose the weight and get healthy. So.
And to create the new habits.
Let me ask you, Dave.
You want to
Go ahead.
create the new habits. So you want to start first changing your routines, your behaviors, because those become the habits. And again, give yourself grace as you're going along the journey.
Right. And don't reward yourself with reinventing that bad habit. Reward yourself with, for me, it'd be maybe a massage or a pedicure or, I don't know, a new shirt. I don't know.
Look at that. Look, y'all got our publicity queen of Level Up Academy, right? Dr. Constance Leland's already like trying to see. That's how I know I'm making it like the redneck George Jefferson. I'm moving up because if Dr. CJ is trying to steal my guest, dadgummit, that is high honor. So, and I can't even get my office chair to work. So that says a lot. All right. So, who is this this lady here with you with this book?
That
Who
is
this?
Vani Harry. It's spelled VANI is her first name. Harry, HARI is her second name. And she is known as the Food Babe. And she wrote the book Feeding You Lies. And she is an advocate for getting the toxins out of the food, the red dyes, the different chemicals in there. She's right now fighting with Kellogg's. They had, I think, 400,000 signatures on a petition she signed. Kellogg's refused to meet with her. There were hundreds of people that showed up at her rally. She is an advocate for eating clean, healthy foods and getting these edible products out of, the stores and out of kids. I mean, the breakfast cereals are toxic, and kids are overweight now. A friend of mine was looking through his yearbook, and he was saying to his kids noticed there were no fat kids back then. And I noticed in my yearbook, there was maybe 2 or 3 that were heavy, but not really fat. Nowadays, I think 25, 30% of kids are overweight, and a lot of them are obese. And it's because of the food, it's not the food we're eating, it's what they've done to it. And everything started changing in the late 1970s and early 1980s when they started using high fructose corn syrup and everything, when they started promoting margarine instead of butter, when they were advocating sugar. So if you do a lot of research, you'll see a timeline. A friend of mine, Dr. Randall Hansen, wrote a book. I'm going to give him a little plug here. The Healing Revolution, and he asked me to write a chapter for him, so I did. And he gives a whole timeline of how the food industry was changed and manipulated. And it started with a guy named Howard Moskowitz, who termed the phrase bliss point, which means they scientifically engineer your food to optimize your craving for salt, fat, sugar, and texture, making it addicting. So when they say, bet you can't eat just one potato chip, it's not a dare, it's a fact.
Right.
I can't eat one can. Man, I'm like Pac-Man.
Yeah, you
It's
just
awful.
can't even have it in the house. Like, it's just, you just can't do it.
Wow, look at these comments. Everybody's just Dr. Constance Leland said if you can't say it, you probably shouldn't eat it. Or she said don't eat it. Right. And Tommy is saying, hey, listen, back to the comments about, hey, don't show up hungry. He said have a protein shake before you go to holiday dinner, right? Little hacks, little things add up and compound, right? You don't have to conquer Mount Kilimanjaro in one day. This is what we're talking about. That little compound effects, little bitty wins. And Michelle, do you notice we don't do that enough? Like, oh, that's not a big deal. Why would I celebrate, not eating
Right.
candy today? But
Yeah.
go address
Well,
that for me.
one thing that just came in my head is a quote that I learned a long time ago, is little by little, a little becomes a lot. And so when you're taking these small steps and you really start kind of coming out of the fog, you're like, oh, this feels good. And you might kind of, this is part of self-sabotage. You might go back to that thing that you were doing. And then the next day you feel like hell, and like you don't feel well. And you're like, why did I do that? My stomach is bloated. I'm like weigh 5 pounds heavier. I'm tired. And, and so then you start learning, those lessons about yourself. And then you can choose, like, do I want to feel this way or not? And so little by little, you make these changes, you start feeling better and better and better. And then, like I said, sometimes you forget what it felt like to be bad. So you might re-engage, but then a lot of times you could just go back to, eating the healthy stuff again. So.
Yeah, I have to introduce you to Jackie Olmsted. She is a fantastic person, and she really helps people, and she does Reiki and all kind of stuff, and really down to earth like you, right? And April Wyatt, and so and obviously David. So I love this that we got these people who overlap, right? So if I'm really struggling, well, now I've got Michelle I can reach out to, and also you guys just like I said, you just don't help one on one. You help high level professionals and companies, right? Because we all know it's a no brainer. When companies have happier, healthy employees, you save money across the board, sick days, healthcare, blah blah blah, all the costs that
And
associated with it.
productivity
So
increases.
where can folks?
And
What's that?
productivity increases.
Of course. I mean, it especially if you're an entrepreneur, because when you get sick, then the whole business is going down, right? I mean, I can't stand it, and I don't want to get sick, or I don't want to get sick needlessly. Like everybody gets sick probably, but I don't want to do it because I'm being unhealthy, right? And so, what's the last thing I tell you? What, man, everybody is going crazy. They could probably go to midnight tonight. I knew this was going to happen. This was why I was excited. I said, wow, this is good stuff. So, and I'm not even go through the comments. It's just crazy. All right. So, by the way, Sharon, join the hounds. All right, join the group call. Long overdue. So, David, anything else? Well, first of all, everybody go get David's book. Go scan the QR code. Go on Amazon. It's Jaded Health. Jaded Health. All right, go out there, check it out. It's a great book. I wouldn't say it if I didn't think so. What's your last parting words? What do you want to do? Let's say somebody out there, they're right on the fence. They really think they might want to do this, right? What's your advice, and then where can they find you and
Well,
plug
they
in
can
first?
find me on LinkedIn, plug in there. And they can also reach me at David Medansky at gmail.com, my first and last name at gmail.com. What I want to say is tomorrow never comes. And if we put off till tomorrow what we can do today, we'll never get done what we need to do. And there's a list of top 10 reasons people procrastinate. And some of them are, I'll wait till Monday. I'll wait till after vacation. I'll start after the holidays. I'll start after we go out to our fancy restaurant with our friends. I'll start after, our vacation. So stop making excuses. Start today, because if you don't start today, you never will. And that's why it took me 8 years to get my wake-up call, because I kept procrastinating. So stop procrastinating. Stop making excuses. And it's the small, seemingly inconsequential changes that you make that you may not see results right away, but if you do it consistently and you do it for a long period of time, maybe 3-6 months, you'll start seeing noticeable results. And I learned that from Darren Hardy from the Compound Effect.
Yeah, I love Darren was in the house, man. Yeah, like, I love that guy. I remember when I first started off years ago, Success Magazine, right? Very inspiring. I love Darren Hardy stuff. So here's the thing, and I'm going to end in because I would go on and on. We got to have a part two. What do y'all think? Y'all
Yes.
want a part two? Tell us in the comments.
Love it.
Yeah, we got to have a part two, probably 3 and 4, and we can bring in a lot of folks with this. But I looked at it this way, right? I'm not the expert, but I learned from experts. So I said, you know, instead of saying I'm going to do this and then being disappointed when it doesn't work out, or works out the way I thought it would, or I backslide, or I have a bad day, I started approaching stuff, everything, health, business, as a scientist, an experiment, right? Well, I'm going to try this for a certain amount of time and see what happens. Then I didn't feel like I was, failure. Well, I mean, listen, you never go to a science lab. The science experiment fails one time. Well, the scientist doesn't throw the beakers and start cussing and lose the shit, right? So I thought about that. I said, I can just try a couple days, right? You can do anything for a couple days, right? Or a day at a time. And then it started compounding and the mindset started shifting. So Michelle, that to you, if you want to comment on that, because that's the battle. Like David said, 90+% of this is what's here,
Right.
right? So what is it that your best advice or baby steps that folks can take if they're right there on that fence where they're willing and daring to do something in the right
I
direction?
think this kind of goes back to David's mindful eating, or just like eating slowly, but it is present moment awareness, and just like real, because we do things mindlessly and we do things habitually. But if you really are thinking about every choice that you're making, then you start thinking about the choices you're making. You know what I'm saying? Instead of doing it just out of habit. So stopping and pausing. There's power in the pause before eat that food or whatever it is, drink that wine or smoke that cigarette or whatever it is that, habit or thing that you want to change in your life, is stop, drop and roll. No, just stop and think.
Oh, I do, from experience. All right. So again, millions of excuses. That's the easy part. Well, I can't because of this, or I'll do it later, blah, blah, blah. Here's the hard part. Here's how we know you're serious. Give me one reason you could, right? What would happen if you at least tried, gave it an effort? And that's what we're about. If you're at that point where you're like, you know what, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, then plug in. All right. And again, I'm plugging the Hounds because where do you think these people hang out at? It's the Hounds. It's the local pub of winners here. So thank you all for the comments. Thank you, folks, for showing up, supporting each other, for being open, because we got to stop. We got to drop the stigma about being humans and being flawed and having issues. We're not the only daggone ones. Okay. And that's why we open up about this, right? I don't do it for attention. When I talk about recovering alcoholic, I want to make sure that some other former firefighter tough guy really he might be able to relate to that, right? Like, hey, what's the most manly thing to do? Yeah, kick a stray cat on the way home and be mean to your family, or work on your inner stuff, right? That I know the answer to that one. It's work on your stuff. But don't do it alone. Go find people, go find guides, reach out to these folks and have a conversation, right? Nobody's going to sell you anything. All they're going to do is talk to you. And if you're ready to take steps, they're there. If you're not, they'll still be there, okay, when you're ready. All right. But take those baby steps, guys. You're talking to a guy in a camo hat living a dream right now. All right. Anything's possible, but you have to have courage. right? And last thing, y'all want to chime in on this, and the audience as well. There's a misconception. I don't know if it's just me or if you all experienced it, that you have to be confident to do stuff. You got to be confident to start that diet plan or that health regimen or that workout or that business. I don't know who's saying that. Maybe there are, but when you're like me and you come up from dirt and you're all passionate, no clue, it's confidence. It's courage. Courage to look like a donkey, put a camo hat on, be yourself and see what happens, right? So, have y'all noticed that to be true? Don't forget about confidence. Forget about this. Courage. Courage to go out there and do what needs to be done. To look stupid, to mess it up, whatever you think it might happen, do it because it's not going to take long. Y'all agree with that? Do y'all have anything to
Absolutely. I
add?
think courage is one of the, an unsung heroes in a lot of people's journeys. It's scary to deviate from the pack. As a matter of fact, in the self-sabotage world, when we were children, when we were, from 0 to, 14, if you deviated from the tribe or deviated from the pack, that was death, right? But then we don't we don't learn as adults that we don't have to think like the tribe anymore. So
Yeah, that's it. Hey, no more cookie cutter. You must do it this way. There's a new wave, and I'm going to go out there and grab the flag and help lead this charge. What we don't want people telling us what to do. We don't want to bash our square peg in round holes. What we want are guides. We want guides, experts, coaches, people who are real to help us figure it out in our voice. David's not telling me what to do. Michelle's not telling me what to do. They're saying, "Hey, let's talk this out so you can figure out what to do for you." Right? There's principles and guidelines. Right? You can't just because rat poison's in the pantry, don't make it food. You can't do stupid things. But there's a whole lot of space, and I teach this in my own stuff. I teach this when I teach marketing and stuff. Your voice, right? It's got to be you, and there's no reason you can't. So here's my advice, and I'll sign off. Define it for yourself. Define what that looks like, and we talked about this. If you want to listen, what makes you happy, right? If being a stay-at-home mom and taking care of the house, if that truly makes you happy, then you should go do that. Don't let other people tell you not. And if you want to go and be an independent person or woman and build a business, you should do that too, right? Because you decided to, not because people told you to and you think you should, dadgummit. So Dr. Kimberly, oh my goodness, hit the and why aren't you in the house? Dude? There's so many people. I'm going to go out there and wrangle over. Give me a dog catcher van and put all these should be hounds. All right. Or you can just scan the QR code on the backdrop there, ladies, and get to hear the full version of my goofiness. You'll be entertained as well as understand the hounds. All right. So thank you all so much. Sharon, you cracked me up. Did y'all see what she put? Did y'all see that? I always wondered that too. I always wondered why the most fittest people in the gym
Yeah.
will spin around like at the grocery store and park up front. Like that's the point of the gym. I'm like, I just saved 5 minutes walking to the gym from the back lot. Right. So anyway, that's funny. Right. And so Michelle has the expertise. Did you do that or did you just walk in the gym? You just park
uh,
anywhere.
no, but I'm sitting here thinking, well, it's because they're about to go in and crush a workout, and they know that they're going to be like crawling out, so they want to be as close to their car as possible. That's the only thing I can think of.
There you go. Yeah, see, I would move away from you because you're you're as fit as I try to be, right? Like so I do hard workout. I'm the same way. I go in to do a light workout. I don't know any other way. I crawl. I'm like, I'll call the ambulance. So
Yeah.
appreciate you both. David, thank you for the coaching. Thank you for the resources and book. And thank you for being a good supportive guy. Michelle, super excited to have you in the Hounds. You have made friends and really people have gravitated towards you. And that's the whole thing being coachable, being open, being in the right place at the right time, folks. So we will see you not next week. We don't have a show because we had the educational presentation. Go to my profile. It's the first thing on the features section on LinkedIn. Uh, three of the most amazing people, the Growth Trinity. So if you're scaling up, starting a business, a small business, you're a one man or woman show, you cannot miss this. I don't do cheap ass infomercials. Y'all know me. All right. These rock stars and expert hounds are going to be giving absolutely great information. We just had an audio and it was amazing. All right. And yeah, Karen, I actually did Tai Chi. Yeah, I'm the most cultured redneck. You ever seen the movie Gremlins 2? Remember the gremlin that talked? That's me. I'm still a gremlin. I'm just evolved now because I hang around all these international rock stars. Right? I go to the country and they're like, What's this guy?" Like, yeah, they're confused because I'm cultured. But go out there. Don't go at it alone. All right. Make sure that if you're trying to grow your business, you show up on the Tuesday, 10 a.m. New York City Eastern time, and connect and just really learn from these rock stars. We have such a great audio. I can't believe it. So the Hounds is transitioning December 1st. We're going not next level. We're skipping 20 levels. It's going to be an amazing time. We've already done this. This model is proven. But like I said, one success story a week, we want to see 10, 20, 50. All right. Whether that's mind, body, spirit, all the above. So appreciate you. And if there's anything we can do, DM us. We're a friendly group of people. We want to see people win. You have an impact to make in this world. And hey, when you have the support and resources, you have a better shot at succeeding at it. All right. That's what we're about. So yes, Dr. Kimberly, I'm the evolved gremlin. Look at that. Yep. And if you want more silly words, go back and watch the replay. I was actually behaved today. So we will see you in 2 weeks. And hey, thank you all. It's an amazing time. I'm honored to be the leader of this pack. You guys make this special. So I'll stop rambling and roll the outro. Hey, hang out backstage real quick. Don't leave. Don't go nowhere. I won't keep you forever, just about half forever. All right. So be good. Princess wave while I'll try to find the buttons. There we go. Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.